welcome to another episode of Nobody Told Us, the English-speaking career podcast for your career in Finland. Today we have another wonderful guest here with us. Welcome, Emmy, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you.
it's such a pleasure, really. Emmy is a leading figure in talent acquisition at her company, 3-Step IT, and also founded the Feminine Leadership Network, which is a community for empowerment, empathy, and inclusivity. And we want to talk to Emmy today about her career in Finland and how she reached into leadership positions, but also about the network and how communities can be a place for you to receive help and support in your career, but also for you to give back if you want to do that. So, Emmy, could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely. Once again, thanks for having me in this podcast. It's really excited to be here and nice to be able to have this discussion with you and also with everybody else who might be commenting afterwards. My journey, career-wise, it has been quite traditional. So I was studying social psychology, so I can guess talent acquisition and people's career is quite natural following path from that field and that kind of atmosphere where you study people's choices and how they behave in different organizations and so forth. And I have always worked within talent acquisitions, basically never done anything else in my adult life. Although I was when I was a student, I did many kinds of different jobs, but the actual career has been with talent acquisition. So I guess I can say that when I worked quite long as an individual contributor, I felt that I was quite ready to take more responsibility also in my career and move to help other people in their success. And I really wanted to have opportunity, but sometimes I felt that I didn't have a sponsor or somebody who could be in the right place to give that opportunity. And then I guess also that kind of personal thought was behind why I wanted to found a community where people can find sponsors and support each other and maybe be in the right place to help when the time comes or get help in their career. So I was at some point lucky to have that kind of sponsor who was able to lift me in my next stage, and I'm very grateful for that. So I wanted to replicate that kind of opportunity, and therefore I was very, very eager to build a network that would be about empowerment and lifting each other up. So I guess that's in a nutshell why I'm interested in both talent acquisition, but also career opportunities, networks, and the idea and concept of mentoring and sponsoring each other.
Thank you for sharing that. Super interesting. Actually interested since you mentioned you had a sponsor, and I think a lot of people maybe don't know how to get one or how a sponsor could help if they want to advance in their career. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about how, especially as a foreigner, you think you can get into those leadership positions here in Finland, what you kind of need to pay attention to and who can help you and so on?
Well, I think, I don't know if it's like a specific thing to Finland, but at least for me, it was helpful that I was very open about my wishes and that I felt that I was ready to go to the next stage in my career. And also I took every chance I had to mentor and help others and build the experience, even though someone doesn't have like a title manager or team lead, they can do so much for other people, and that gives a very valuable learning and capabilities that you can immediately transfer into profession that you have if you want to lead others. And I also think that's quite sometimes even necessary that you have done something like that, because it's quite difficult to adjust your brain into a different position from over one night and start to maybe take different kind of responsibilities if you haven't ever exposed yourself into that kind of position that maybe leading others is. And I was quite excited and open about it, and also I did all kinds of mentoring programs and I guided trainees and I did a lot of volunteer work. Yeah, I think it kind of was just about showing that I was ready to put effort into it. And then also about timing, that like I said, I had a sponsor that was in a position that person was able to help me and was willing to do that. And I guess what made that possible was that I was quite myself and we had great connection and we were both really honest and authentic to each other, and I was able to admit my weaknesses also and yeah, I think there was some kind of honesty in that relationship that I had with that person who was then able to give me the chance. And I think honesty is something that you really need if you want to ask somebody something. To give you a chance, you need to be a little bit vulnerable and out there, so people can trust you that you are yourself.
But did you want to share something or?
Well, I think
that reminds me and takes me back
it can
to
be
when
called a
I myself had a
mentor
sponsor,
or
but I didn't know that
I don't
this is
know,
how we call this type of
sparring
people in our
person,
lives.
and you can call
I
those
was thinking more like
people
a
in
mentor,
many
but could
different
you share a little bit more
ways
of
that
how to
help you.
identify
And
what a
I guess
sponsor is for us
some
in
of
our
them are
career?
in a position that they can actually lift you to another stage in your career and give you job opportunities, but some people might not be in that position because they might not work in the same organization or not even the same field, but then it's a different kind of support that they can offer. So I guess the sponsor or mentor can be many things, and maybe I now call that person a sponsor because we were in the same organization, so that person was able to give me very concrete things, but also it could have been that the person would have offered different kind of support and hear me out and so forth. But sometimes you also need those concrete things to go forward. So therefore, I highly encourage everybody to try to find that kind of person within the same organization or within the same field. So something concrete might come out of it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Of course, a lot of people can give you a lot of tips, or it's sometimes just good to rant to someone who understands, but then to have kind of concrete, specific results of that, it needs to be someone pretty close to where you work, probably your manager or someone else in the organization in a higher level, let's say. Can you share maybe a couple of tips that how can we approach these people, or what makes sense? Do you just go and say, hey, do you want to be my sponsor, or kind of how do you build that relationship?
Well, I would say that it follows the same rules as every other meaningful relationship. That first there is the trust, that you have to trust each other, and what creates the trust is the authenticity, that you know that you are being yourself, you are not hiding any agendas, and you are just you, and you express what you want. So you are being your own true self, authentic and also honest person. That's the main baseline, I think, that you need to build. And then what comes after that, for me, are the values. I think it would be very important if you can identify somebody who shares the same values as you. It might be inclusiveness, taking others into account, acting in emotionally aware or intelligent way. It can be small things. It doesn't have to be very big things, but just a general view for life might be similar, and therefore there are the values that you share. So those form that kind of a bond that it's more easy to build on top of that, and then you can start to ask things for yourself when you have that base, and then the person is able to understand why you are asking this, why you are wanting this for yourself, and might be able to help you because there is the connection, and the person, of course, usually everybody loves to help, so the person might be quite excited to give those opportunities because it gives meaning for them also, who are the sponsors, to be able to lift others up. So yeah, I think it benefits all if you can find and identify those bonds. And so one day we can all be sponsored by ourselves to others, and it's a two-way street, really.
Yeah, that takes me back to I will start calling him my sponsor. It was a person very much older than me, but that saw something that reminded him of himself when he started his career. And I think those moments in your life shape you and also make you feel like you have potential. This may be something bigger than just going towards your career just to work. It's like, look at you, you can do more than what you think. So I also believe that it would be nice for me to sponsor someone one day. But for now, since I'm just starting in this career and change,
I think it's
everyone
really
knows with Hey Dingo,
amazing
I'm
that somebody has done the active decision to change the career that they have had into something their passion lies. So firstly, I think that's very exciting, and every time it's a case where the support is needed and also justified, because sometimes we cannot do that kind of leap alone. I think if I think about myself as a talent acquisition professional, what I sometimes what I wish that person or people might do a little bit more is that they could open up a little bit why they want to transfer the career into the new direction and what in the new direction interests them, especially. So, because that's also the deep motivation that we want to know from other people, that why do they do what they do. I think it's a little bit the social psychologist in me also that wants to know the deep motivation, what's the root cause for something. But also I think it can be transferred into everyday life, that we want to know why somebody is doing something, because it makes the whole situation more clear to us. So I guess very open and clear communication about that wish that somebody has in terms of changing the career would be very effective way to find sponsors in the new field, because especially the fields where there aren't enough talents or there aren't enough diversity, everybody's aware of that problem, and there are so many people who want to help to solve that problem. But it would help them if the people who want to enter that field would be clear about why they want to do it, what do they seek, so they can be lifted and included into those communities.
Yeah, I think that's something that applies to almost every situation in our life nowadays, that you have to be clear about what you want and what you try to get out of it, or what is your motivation. And so really good tips there. I wanted to ask just one more thing about this topic, because we've been talking a lot about sponsors and what they can do, how they help, how to get them. But I'm thinking then now more from the angle of, let's say, myself or the person who wants to move forward in their career or take the next step. And I'm sure as a recruiter, you have been a part of many recruitments also for team leads, managers, other leadership positions. Can you share with us a little bit from that perspective that what are people usually, let's say, looking for in the person that wants to step up in a leadership role? What kind of qualities should they bring?
Well, I think in general, the emphasis in leadership positions has now changed a little bit from technical capabilities or hard skills into people skills and leading skills and leadership philosophies, if I might call those that. So organizations are very aware how leaders and leadership can either bring amazing results or break the whole organization down. So the skills that rely on helping others, supporting others, empowering others, and understanding what other human beings are feeling and thinking, especially based on person's own actions, that how do my actions feel now, or how does the other person feel now about my actions, what I have now been doing or saying. Those kind of things are now in the front and center of leadership. And organizations, many of those feel that they can teach the hard skills, but they cannot teach the people skills that easily. So the fit must come from the people side, and then the hard skill side can be adjusted. If somebody wants to enter into a leadership position, I think it might be very beneficial to think through what kind of leadership the person wants to bring with them and showcase, and what are the concrete ways to support other people. So is it active listening? Is it feedback culture? Is it communities? I don't know, or combination of several things. But those kind of insights are something that interviewers are now looking for to have in the job interview situation coming from the candidate. So the readiness to talk about in that level, not just list all the projects and the skills that the person has, but really quite advanced discussion about leadership is something that is now being looked forward. In summary, I would say that finding a sponsor within your organization or within your network would be beneficial. But I also have a good tip about how to keep on communicating with people who might become your sponsors but might not be that yet. So it would be very beneficial for you and many others to have that kind of activity within the network that can support you when the time comes. So some of those network members might come from when you are searching for your leadership position or your next steps. For example, the people you have met in interviews, who have interviewed you or who have interacted with you, that are working in different organizations where you might want to see yourself also in the future, or people who have been in the same community events or networking events. So all those kind of people, usually what I personally do, so this is a tip from my own life that I actively use, is that I always follow up. If I have met somebody in the event, I send them a message, usually in LinkedIn, because I use that quite a lot, also in my profession, but also in my free time. So I sent them a casual message that, hey, we have met in that event and I would love to stay in touch, and I like talking with them, or maybe I didn't talk that much with them, so I just say that it would be nice to talk again in the future, and there you go. So I try to form a connection with them. if I have been in a job interview, I send a follow-up message to interviewers, especially if I didn't get it, or if you are in a position that you were rejected. It's still a great opportunity to stay in touch with the people you have spent time with during the process. And it's very okay and also usually highly appreciated if a person sends a message that, hey, I enjoyed the discussion we had. I hope you have find a great person for the position. I would still love to stay in touch. I like where your company is going. So maybe we can find a new discussion round or time in the future. And there you go. You still have an open connection to that person. And then you can ask within few months or whatever time frame is good for you that, do you have any openings? Would you know anybody who is hiring a talent like me, and so forth? So that kind of keeping the doors open, so to say, it's very beneficial to have that kind of active line to your network. Of course, it requires a little bit of your time and investment that one would like to do that, and it's always that you have to reach your hand first. For me, at least, it has been highly worth it. The time investment that I have used in those kind of small follow-up messages has been highly rewarded. So I can recommend that kind of approach. Have you done, Dafne or Rebekka, that kind of thing? Do you actively use that?
In my case, maybe since moving to Finland, it has been the reason why I think my career here has been as successful as it is, because I'm very grateful for what I've achieved. But maybe I should use it more often on specific cases. And in my case, it's for mentors, for business-related situations. But maybe if there were anything else related to maybe entering an industry or so on, I would definitely find like that champion that could take me forward. I think right now it's Rebekka who, has this knowledge and can share her knowledge with me in this podcast, which is incredible. And for now, I think especially being involved in the correct networking events and so on, you get to surround yourself with people that can guide you best. Or is that scam?
So I don't have personal experiences in that, but I would assume that if you buy a sponsorship model or mentoring model, it's quite well framed. So you can get a framework. I think it won't be a scam if you know beforehand what you are buying. So you should know what kind of framework you are then investing into. But if you want more networking and sparring and maybe a bit more personal relationship with somebody, then I think that it should always be free. And that's not the case when you pay from that kind of sponsorship, that it's based on personal connection. But it kind of depends. If you want to buy a very, famous framework and famous or effective sponsorship model that has been, for example, shaped into a product, then by all means, I think it might be highly beneficial. Especially in Finland, the population is quite small, and maybe people have encountered pro bono type of sponsorship models more than those are being sold professional services.
I didn't think of a nice transition, so I don't have any enough. I wanted to change the topic a little bit, but it has to do with leadership. We mentioned in the beginning, and we have mentioned it, or you have mentioned it now also several times, that communities and networks are super important, not only if we want to, let's say, get into leadership roles, but basically for anything. And you especially, you have founded your own network. Can you tell us a little bit what it is about, what you do there, why people should join, and especially how you got the idea to found your own network?
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite a big journey for me also. So founding a network wasn't something that it wasn't on my bucket list, if I might say that. Thought about it before, when it's all about timing, I guess. So the timing was right for me, and I had a person to do it with. So I didn't found it the network feminine leadership alone, but I had a partner for that. So I founded it with my ex-colleague. So it was once again a showcase that we shared the same values and we communicated with each other that, hey, we would like to have a place for people to find support, find sponsors, mentors, and also a community that would showcase emotionally intelligent leadership. And people don't have to be leaders to showcase that. Anybody can really support that kind of initiative and take those kind of actions into their life. We shared those values and then we wanted to do something concrete. So we founded that community, and it was first very small. It was like a cafeteria meeting for 12 people or so. And then the word started to spread, and many other people wanted to join. Through that time, my founding partner Ida had to go to another exciting startup journey. So I took the charge of the community, and it grew from a small cafeteria meeting into nearly 3,000 individuals community. So within 1 year, that's quite big leap, and it just shows that so many people want to connect with those kind of values, and it finds new members continuously because people need that kind of space where they want to be with others who clearly share their values, and that's a safe environment, I think. Also, that's the feedback I receive continuously, that it's a safe environment for anybody to join. It's not for any specific genders. Anybody is really welcome to join there, and it's all about the values.
I would have asked that actually. What is feminine leadership, and is it just like for women, or who can join? But maybe you can explain a little bit what feminine leadership is about, in your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So the term feminine leadership, it refers highly to emotionally intelligent leadership. That would have been a quite long name, and maybe feminine is a little bit more, I don't know, I guess it also encourages women to take leadership positions. So I wanted it to have a little bit like a dual meaning, that women can take more leadership position. That's something that I would like to see a little bit more, because statistically there aren't that many women who take leadership positions. So that's just one angle. But feminine leadership refers to emotionally intelligent leadership style that is based on traits or actions that might be seen as feminine in our culture. Listening skills, understanding other people's viewpoints, taking actions towards diversity. Those kinds of things go under feminine leadership, but anybody can showcase that, like I said. And also the network has always had all genders, so it's not for women only, even though the word feminine might lean a little bit to that direction. But it's more there to support also women in new stages in their career. Regarding the network or my whole career, I felt that I have followed my own journey. But what I would say to my younger self is that I would be more brave to do things in even a faster pace, that I don't need like 7 years time to learn something. I can learn even I'm on my uncomfort zone. I would just say to myself that do it faster, but otherwise I would do the same things, definitely.
It's nice to hear. Let's go ahead.
Sometimes you don't have the right timing, and you just need to be persistent, because then it might really be that your timing is very soon about to come, and you just need to keep on pushing and going, and there will be a moment when the timing is there. And sometimes you got lucky and your timing is very immediate, but then if you don't have persistency and you let things go, then your timing effects won't last. So you kind of need both. That's a huge learning for me personally, because sometimes I'm quite fast and I let go of things easily. So persistency and following up is something that I have really now emphasized and learned. So yeah, anybody can have the right momentum like happening tomorrow or I don't know, really fast, but they have to keep on going. So I would encourage everybody to just believe in themselves and keep on doing their thing, whatever it is.
It's very motivating. Good thing to keep in mind. I wanted to ask just one more question that we ask everyone. It refers to our name. So what is something that nobody told you before that you wish that you had known in your career?
Well, I think for me, it's that nobody has the answer. So you really can just try to do something you want to do and to learn when you basically only need your own values and you can create so much content based on those. And you don't have to find out new tricks and new I don't know, secrets to tell like all the time, but you can really talk about values a lot and people will respond very well into that if they share those similar viewpoints and values with you. So I don't know, I guess if I would have known that before, I would have done content even sooner and I would have had a little bit easier time to think about what to say and what kind of topics to talk about. But I guess I thought that people come up with new things continuously, and I just didn't realize that it's all within me. What I believe in and what are my values are the things that I should talk about. Thank you, Rebekka. Thank you, Daphne. It was a pleasure to be in here. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you so much, and thank you.